In the previous video, I forgot to cover guilt by association, and I'm going to rectify that presently in this video. Now, the guilt by association fallacy, we can consider a type of argumentum ad hominem in a fallacious sense. In guilt by association, the focus is to dismiss the person based on some supposedly bad association. Now, in fact, what's really interesting is that we can relate the guilt by association fallacy to the fallacy of the undistributed middle. And we're going to see that in a moment. We have the following argument. Premise 1, all racists are those who support border controls. Premise 2, this politician supports border controls. Conclusion, therefore this politician is a racist. Notice that the given argument gives us no means to relate racists and this politician. Now, it is true that both support border controls, but this doesn't tell us that they do so in the same way or identically. Premise 1 tells us that all racists support border controls, although it leaves open the possibility that other groups, that is, non-racist groups, support border controls. Now, when you learn about categorical syllogisms, you find out that what is called the middle term appears in both premises but never the conclusion. Namely, those who support border controls is the middle term. But the middle term here is not referred to in its entire extension. In other words, it is undistributed. And that's something you learn about when you study traditional logic. Moreover, the structure of this very argument is invalid. Because let's compare this to the following. Premise 1, all x are z. Premise 2, all y are z. Conclusion, therefore, where those three dots mean therefore, all y are x. Compare the argument, all cats have 4 legs. My dog has 4 legs, therefore my dog is a cat. Clearly something went wrong with that argument, but that argument matches this very structure. And in fact, this argument up here matches this very structure too, so it is definitely a fallacious argument. And we can diagram this in various ways. For example, let's say this circle represents supports borders. All we know is that racists R support borders, and this politician P supports borders. But it doesn't follow that P and R are identical. Another way we can diagram this is as follows. We'll use a Venn diagram. So let's say this circle represents Z. This circle represents Y. And this circle represents X. Now we're going to shade out portions of these circles. So let's consider that first premise, all X are Z. All racists are those who support border controls. We'll look at the circle X. We know all X are Z, so we're going to shade out all of that circle in X, which is not part of Z or not contained in Z. So the only portion that's left over is within Z. Likewise for premise 2, all Y are Z. This politician supports border controls. We're going to shade out that portion of that circle of Y that's not in Z. So we'll shade this out. Then the question is, can we read off the answer that all Y are X? Can we read off that conclusion? Therefore, this politician is a racist. So all Y are X. Well, the answer is no, because this portion here is not shaded out. There may be something in here. So yes, there may be something here, but there may be something here as well. So because of that, we cannot read off the conclusion that all Y are X. We cannot read off the conclusion that this politician is a racist. So interestingly enough, even though the guilt by association fallacy is technically called an informal fallacy, The structure of such arguments, however, are usually formally invalid. They're formally invalid because they're of this kind, of that structure. All x supports z, all y supports z, thus all y are x. That doesn't follow at all. To be sure, there may be contexts in which someone may be guilty by association. A bad association may indeed tell us something negative about that person. Yet often people use guilt by association in a totally fallacious way, and when it's used in a totally fallacious way, often, not always, it's related to the fallacy of the undistributed middle. Now, there's a lot more to be said about what it means to have a distributed or undistributed middle term in a syllogism. To become a master at logic requires us to learn how to evaluate categorical syllogisms. And if you want to become a master, you can see my articles on distribution and syllogism at my website, amateurlogician.com. I would really much appreciate it if you check out my website. And if you like my work, consider supporting my work by buying me a cup of coffee. There's a link below. You can visit my Twitter account or my Instagram account. You can also sign up for my newsletter. Thank you so much for watching. Be well, and until next time.